Welcome to another new video on this channel, and welcome to a completely new series on this channel. We'll call it Beyond Wild Tarantulas. This will be a series raw documenting the life as a tarantula enthusiast, as a tarantula keeper, and we will give you hands-on footage, easy film footage of our tarantula collection and some more ambitious tarantula projects. Enjoy! So today we are going to rehouse this tarantula, but not only rehouse, but we will rebuild her enclosure, because as you can see, there is actually quite drastically a lot going on in this enclosure, and therefore we will just take the spider out of the enclosure and then rebuild the whole enclosure. So that will basically be the task of today's video. What you need is a good torchlight. So you see it down there, the tarantula is hiding, and you can, of course, and really need to see her before you start with the whole thing. So what I like to do is I like to prepare my tools beforehand, and you might laugh, but different cups and different tools to get the spider out. And of course you can get, and you need, a good torchlight. But what's also important, maybe a smaller stick. But of course you can use something from the kitchen if you don't have any better tools than that. No worries. Of course a forceps made out of steel or metal would be great, but it's not needed. After all these years, you see that the substrate actually pushed itself together. So initially, we should have put more substrate in it. The tarantula doesn't really care, so she really built a nice hide underneath the log. You can basically see her with the torchlight. Here it is. It's a Cleidocatl albopilosus, formerly known as Brachypelma albopilosum. So she's doing good. And of course, the enclosure doesn't look the best, so it's more of like our understanding that we would like to get a better enclosure. And you also see that the single plant we had here did not survive, because we simulated the dry season to hopefully drop an egg sac, but that did not happen. So enough talking, let's see that we can get her out. Easiest thing is that to just turn the hide, the tarantula is underneath. So when I do that, I just gently, and I mean gently, pull away this whole piece, and ideally lay it in the enclosure, or I just put the whole thing out of the enclosure, which is even better in this case. So we'll just grab the thing and put it somewhere else. And here you see the tarantula specimen. It really is as easy as it gets. So now, in the next step, I like to use just the bigger container of the both, because the tarantula is quite huge. And since the tarantula itself cannot hide anywhere now, I just gently, and I mean gently, come in with the cup, slowly, and just slowly go towards the tarantula. See how her response is. The response so far is quite good. She's starting to kick some hairs, and now we have her in the cup. Gently as that. She is a bit stressed, as you can see, but that doesn't really matter that much, because now she will get a new home. So then I just turn the cup like this and go a bit upward, and that makes the spider usually, as you can see, just go and walk inside of the cup. It really is as easy as it gets. And then I just pull out the plastic container with the adult female Cleidocatl albopilosus. Place the spider and put a lid on. And it's important to state that, of course, this lid needs ventilation holes. So what I think and what I like to do next is that I just keep the substrate which is in here, and I do not clean the whole enclosure, because as you can see here, maybe this is not dust or anything, but these are little webbings from the tarantula itself. So she placed her silk all over the enclosure so that she knows that it's her retreat and her territory. So in the next step, we'll just grab this bag of topsoil and put it inside so that we can actually fill the whole tank with topsoil. So now if you have scooped everything up, you see that there are different parts of nutritions from the old substrate. We have some leaf litter left. And now we will just add the hide of the tarantula itself. This is the old hide, and we will use the exact same one because, as you can see here, there are some webbings, spider silk, tarantula silk to be more precise, with her pheromones, so that she actually knows it's her enclosure and therefore feels much more secure, which is just perfect. So we will just place this one in here. We can scape it, and I see that the entrance would be over there, so we can make the scape of the entrance just like you would see tarantulas in their native environment. But of course, we have to add some plant. Now, as a next step, we will add another plant, because last time it did not work that well for this species because they tend to build everything their own way again. But nevertheless, we will just place this little nice plant in the backside of the enclosure around there. So that will work for sure. And this is actually quite a strong one. So I'm pretty sure that this will not get destroyed. Now we have placed the plant back there. As you can see, it's quite nice. And now what I like to do next is to actually put some powder in the enclosure. And this is a special powder because it is clay powder, which I use to dense the substrate and to make it even better for the tarantula to build upon. And you can buy that in quite a lot of stores. It's completely natural, but it gives the topsoil the ability to absorb moisture a bit better, and it gives another coloration. Again, you can mix this whole substrate up before you place it in the enclosure. Of course you can do that, but because of the ability of the clay powder, it is actually not advised to do so because it will harden at one point, and if it will harden outside of the enclosure because you have prepared it last week, then you'll get a problem sooner or later. This looks almost perfect now, so we will just scoop things up. Now, since the new enclosure is almost perfect now, because now we have also built a hide, we added some clay powder into the substrate so that it gets more stable and absorbs more moisture, we will now focus on decoration. And therefore, just right next to the spider, I do have some nutshells from the forest, which you can also purchase if you want exotic nutshells, and some dried up leaf litter. And this is the stuff we're going to use now. The tarantula is still doing very well in here, and probably we will just have to rehouse her at a later stage. Now, we are adding some leaf litter, which will make the enclosure look 100 times better in no time. And I have different leaves from different trees, actually, and bushes, which were dried out for quite some weeks now. And you just have to make sure that you get a good source for these leaves so that actually anytime you need them, you can just get them. And why not? We'll add some nut shells here and there. It is just for our own eye. The tarantula has no benefit in it, but it looks nice. It somewhat can look nice. especially after some time when the tarantula just roamed around a little and made her own thing out of the enclosure, just used all the pieces together, and itself will grow at one point over that wooden trunk here, because the light source is actually here and it will grow towards the light, so that is beneficial to us. And when we have a look from the side view, you see that we have almost tripled the amount of substrate now. So here you still can see some of the old substrate line, and this is all the new part of the substrate itself, and therefore she has now a lot more room to dig in, and it's clearly beneficial for her. The burrow is also ready. It is just made from the soil, topsoil we just used in here. And now we'll just spray the whole enclosure, give it some water, and then wait a couple of minutes so we can hopefully rehouse the tarantula. So now step one, we have soaked the whole substrate. You can see here it is full of water, and this is actually important because you don't need to spray the enclosure from the top to bottom, because now then the soil will not get all the moisture it actually needs. But now as a next step, since we have used clay powder as our last step, I'd like to just spray a little around here, that this clay powder actually just vanishes and hopefully goes into the substrate from, and I can also water the plant really easily down there. I know it looks kind of empty up here, but no worries, the plant will just grow in no time. We'll spray everything and now let it dry for a couple of, I'd say, hours with the open lid here in front. We have cross ventilation going on from here to the top part here, so that the air can actually circulate really well. Give us a break, and now it is time, because now the enclosure has dried up again, and it is time to rehouse our Tiltocatl albopilosos, the curly hair tarantula. And I'm a big fan of just staying calm so that the tarantula stays calm, and in 99% of the time it works just fine. So let's be real gentle here and make sure that the tarantula can actually walk inside of her burrow, the new enclosure we just made for her, and just be kind of gentle to her and lead her towards her new enclosure, which is down there. Isn't it a gorgeous tarantula? It's an adult female for quite some time, and I really hope that at one point she will drop us an egg sac. So you can see she's using the spinnerets to produce some more silk. I'm pretty sure that she has recognized that it's her old enclosure because of did not clean the sides of the glass enclosure where all her webbing and silk, all the silk she produced is, so she can sense that it's her environment. And I hope that she understands that that is her new burrow. And of course we can always gently pull her towards it, but I'm just not a big fan of it. So let's just wait and see what happens. And in the meantime, just admire the beauty of this awesome curly hair tarantula. And some of them are really calm, others are very nasty, but this one is just a gorgeous old lady, and you see she understood that this is her new burrow, and it just fits perfectly. Of course she has to dig her way down and make it her own retreat, but it is a good starting point when you build a burrow for a tarantula in your enclosure like that, because now, as you can see, she is fully hidden within the enclosure and she feels very safe and comfortable, and I'm pretty sure she will make use of this leaf litter somehow, and the plant up there will grow nicely into the tank. So in a few months' time, maybe in a few weeks of time, we can revisit this awesome looking curly hair tarantula. And I hope this video helped you guys on how to rehouse your tarantula and actually rebuild the own enclosure you have, because you don't need to do a lot and you don't need to do a lot of cleaning because everything is beneficial. Even the old substrate is beneficial, so that she can actually burrow in. Thanks for it, and I hope you guys see you in the next video. If not, no problem. Cheers.